All right, joining me now on the Sports Card Shop at Moco guest line, all the way from Australia. It's actually we're recording this on a Wednesday here in the States, and it's Tuesday in Australia. So we're recording this, I think, on two different days. But very talented individual, one-on-one memorabilia cards, Omar Cornelius. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's Thursday here, by the way. And that
Thursday, okay.
intro,
All right.
that intro is awesome.
I had that one. I was going backwards in time. It's Thursday there. It's Wednesday here, and that's I always get a kick out of that. And I appreciate you, accommodating. I know it's tricky sometimes with the time zone difference to
Yeah,
coordinate.
it's 9 here. And what time is it there?
Yeah,
7? 7?
7 p.m. Yeah, so it's 9 a.m. there and 7 p.m. here. And we've had I don't know if you're familiar with Tyson Beck, who's also from Australia. He's been on the show, and so same thing. I've done this before, but it's not as easy. You got to be a little flexible, and I appreciate you doing that. I want to talk about what you do, Omar, which is custom memorabilia cards. They're awesome. I'll show mine here in a second, but just I know you live in Australia now, but if I'm correct, you're originally from Canada. So I guess one of my first questions: how did you make your way to Australia?
So I met my partner, I believe, she's 11 years ago
Yeah.
or 12. Well, hopefully she doesn't listen to this. And and 3 years ago we made that. So we've been together for that 11, 10 years on and off for long distance as well too. And then 3 years ago we discovered we were having a little boy. So I made the decision, like it'd probably be easier for me to move to Australia and adjust than to have you guys come to Canada and adjust, obviously due to the
Yeah.
climate as well, right? So
Yeah.
it just made more sense for me to come here and then to go to Canada.
So I get. I mean, obviously you're native Canadian. I mean, do you like it, Australia? I mean, how was it? Was it an easy adjustment? I mean, how do do you miss home? I mean, I know you can. Obviously, you got with the pandemic kind of threw a monkey wrench, obviously into things. But I mean, how do you like being in Australia?
Um, it's no different from Canada. Like they're all under the Commonwealth countries. So in regards to the economy, standard of living, and etc., they're all the same. But the weather is killing me. So true story. The week before I arrived in Australia, I was ice climbing. And the day I left was -40. So I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. But then I got here and it was 32, 33 degrees. So it was almost a 70-degree swing. And have you ever it felt like you're getting punched in the face? Like,
Yeah.
so
Well, listen, that's in Syracuse. That can be one day. Like I joke around with people in Syracuse. In the same day, we might have the heat on and the air conditioned. That's how big our swings are in like a 24-hour period. I like to say I'm joking, but it has happened. I mean, where spring has started and we had a snowstorm. It was 70 degrees last week, and we had a snowstorm a couple days ago where they canceled school. So when it comes to weird weather and shifts in temps, I'm an expert, unfortunately, I guess, when it comes to that. So I know exactly where you're coming from. So, like, hobby wise, do you collect cards as far as like the cards made by like Topps, Panini? Are you a card collector originally? Like how I know you make these custom cards, which are great. We're going to talk extensively about that, but just to get a little background, hobby wise.
yeah, so I believe it is Upper Deck came out with I think it was 14, 15. They came out with Premiere, and it was the
Yeah,
lower range of the cup. And that's when I got back into the hobby, and that's when I was just breaking boxes and cases at Andy Sports Cards in Calgary. And then ever since then, I've just been collecting hockey, but I wasn't an avid collector. I would just buy what I wanted, open what I
yeah,
wanted. I was obsessed with breaks. I would watch breaks on YouTube all the time. That was like my pastime at nighttime. And then, yeah, we would just kind of stick to within the hobby. It was my safe haven. I know when I got here in Australia, the there was two groups that I registered on Facebook. Community groups was a hiking group because I love hiking and mountaineering. Um, just being from Canada, I think, and being in the Rocky Mountains, it was just that was my
Yeah.
thing. And then a card group too. So just getting to know people within the community in Australia. So that was like for me, that was my again safe haven where being here in Australia, I don't have family. I was just starting a brand new life. Didn't have many friends, so that was my place to reach out and make new friends in a new country.
So, I mean, are cards accessible? I mean, obviously, the internet has made the world as big as it is a very small place to order stuff online and get it shipped to you. But like where you live, can you go out? Can you go? Is there a card store? Can you go somewhere fairly local, whether it's drive and purchase cards there, or do when you do get cards, are they traditionally you have them shipped to you?
Now, so there's a couple of card shops within like the vicinity that I live in, the metropolitan city, like Brisbane. So
Yeah,
if you go up to the Gold Coast, there's Rip and Collect. If you go into the north end of Brisbane, there's Reaper's Collectible, and then south there's Mint Collectibles as well too. So there's local card shops, and then obviously with online and eBay and everything else, like there's a lot of people who do reach out to the states and
yeah.
then buy singles or whatever the case may be. I know a lot of people jumping in on the breaks from here within the
Yeah.
states. Yeah.
I got to think, locally card store wise. Yeah, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm guessing probably basketball, one of the bigger sellers or the most popular out of the four major sports.
Yes, yes. So we did some market research, and you might need to fact check this. I'm just going off. So basketball being one, and then it was the rugby, cricket, and then the Australian football. I don't know what the
Yeah,
order is, but that would be it here
yeah,
in Australia. But basketball is the most dominant one that has majority of the collectors going.
yeah. Now living there, have your hobby habits changed, or are you a hockey guy first and foremost? Is it and that being said, if that's the case, are you able to get hockey cards there?
Yeah. So surprisingly, the ice hockey. I'm just gonna go off on a little tangent if you don't mind, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh,
Go ahead.
the ice hockey here, the people who actually play are amazing. Like, they're
Yeah,
really good. You would never expect it. I thought I was gonna come in because I joined a league in the
yeah.
first year
And
here,
dominate
and
and
yeah, I thought I was gonna dazzle them, but they ended up dazzling me. I was like, "What's going on here?" Um, no, but in regards to my collecting habit, it has changed. I was expecting the first year being here, I was expecting to go back and pick up my collection from Canada and bring it back to Australia. But due to COVID, obviously we couldn't leave the country. It was just too riskful. Like if I was to leave, I would have been able to come back in and having a family and etc. It would just so have been a different ball. Like I would have been stuck home in Canada. But in regards to accessibility to hockey cards, yes, there is a following. Like you can get hockey cards, but it's not that big compared to back home. And then in regards to my collecting habit, it has extremely changed. So now I kind of stick away. I don't do the modern cards where I was in the
yeah,
14, 15, 16, and so on. Now it's tobacco cards because there's a surplus of tobacco cards in within antique shops. So true story. Went to an antique store. They had two boxes, just scattered tobacco cards everywhere, and it was
wow,
just free.
wow.
And when I say free,
That's
like they weren't
yeah,
protective, but they were
yeah.
20 cents a piece, and I was finding
uh,
some great stuff in there too.
Man, I think you're gonna inspire a lot of people to like try to book flights to Australia and get some cheap vintage cards. But no, that's cool. I want to get into so one-on-one memorabilia cards. Where did when did you decide you had this talent? Number one, like was it something you fooled around with at first and then it just kind of took off? In other words, how did this get off the ground? I mean, you're doing pretty well now, but how did it all start for you?
So 14, 15, when Premiere came out, I think that was the years. I That's when obviously the RPAs, the rookie patch autos, and
Yeah,
I started noticing the fabric in the cards and etc. and the signatures. And I said to myself, this would be great to have as a kid. And I pitched it to a couple of friends. I was like, hey, let's, like we could do something here. Like this would be great for sports teams and etc. And obviously they weren't interested. I don't think back then a lot of people weren't interested in cards. I think we had our little niche group among ourselves. So I just kind of kept it to myself and just became an obsession, like a really obsession. It was just a hobby and a pastime for me. I was always trying to just fiddle around with designs, how to assemble it, how can I make it better. And then just over through the years, it was just like I'd pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down, pick it up. And then when I arrived in Australia, the first year, I just hated my job. Like absolutely hated it.
Yep. I've been
And
there.
yeah, and then but the cards, like manufacturing these cards and making them for myself, and like I made some for my kid as well too. COVID hit. I said, you know what? I'm not happy. Let's forget about this. I want to become a stay-at-home dad. A week into becoming a stay-at-home dad, my buddy Dave was like, why don't you throw these on social media and see what happens? Threw it up and the feedback was phenomenal. And then that's when it started getting wind. And that's when it's like, okay, we have something here. We just got to perfect it and make it better and get it to market. And then it was just day after day. It was just like going to shops, talking to people, manufacturing. What's the best product to use in regards to printing, gluing, how to assemble it. I used to take my little boy. He was younger than 2, and he'd be in my hands, and I would be meeting with people and feeding him a bottle, and then trying to explain the product. Like, hey, that's
Multitasking. That's
yeah.
called
Well,
multitask.
we titled him the CFO. But it was
I
good though
like it.
because I got to share my hobby and my passion with my little boy and spend that time with him as well too. And
Yeah.
2 days ago, he wouldn't go to bed, so it's like, hey, just hop in bed and let's turn on the laptop, and we started watching card breaks together. So
Yeah. And Omar, that's awesome, man. My son's 22 now, so he's a he's a man. But it's those stories, right? Those bonds that we share as fathers and sons, and mothers and daughters, even in the hobby, right? You can't put a price on that stuff. And when I hear those kind of things, that honestly warms my heart. And as he obviously grows up, and you'll make more stories and memories. And don't blink, man. Like I said, I got a 22-year-old, and it just seems like yesterday was starting kindergarten, and here we are, all these years later. And to now do this. I mean, is this a full-time thing now for you? Is it got to that point?
yes, well, yes and no. So here in Australia, we have I work for PSG as well too, Platinum Standard Grading, and I'm one of their
Yeah,
architects in regards to the infrastructure for the programming. So if I don't have orders or if there's nothing to be done with one-to-one, then I work with PSG. So it's um it's a hub more or less. Like we have a card shop here, and then we have the grading, and then I manufacture cards as well here, and then we have sumo slaps to kind of educate the public and the collectors together and get a forum going. So um, I'm trying to make it full time. I would
yeah,
love to make it full time. It's getting there, obviously, over the years and the months. Like there's been a lot of progression, and um, you know, in regards to orders, like the numbers have been getting better and better and better. But I think to get to a point where I'm going to be very happy. I am happy now, but I think it's going to take a couple of like 3 to 4 years until it's just like it's going to be full on where I can have some
yeah.
employees under me, etc.
Well, like you said, I think the big thing too, you were working at a place where you didn't love your job, and now you sort of you get to love what you do as you build it. And I changed careers actually myself this year from a job that was super stressful, and I'm not a young guy, so that stress was wearing on me. And went into the teaching profession. And I just love working with youth and kids, as a former coach, and even Sunday school teacher. And so, loving what you do, and that less stress that comes with that is you can't put a price on stuff like that, and it sounds like you get to spend more time with your son as well, and that's priceless in its own right as well. So I hear you there.
Yeah, I think in regards, like, it's not a job. This
Yeah, yeah.
it's not.
Well,
I
that
don't like.
yeah. If you enjoy what you're doing, yeah, using the word job sometimes is sort of an overstatement. I know exactly what you meant when you said that. So
Yeah, I rather. I'm happy I found this when I did. Like, and to make my dreams fruition, like, come true, like, it's just been from probably one of the best highlights in my life. Like, obviously my partner Chelsea, and then
yeah,
Eli, my little boy, and this as
yeah.
well too, right? So I don't think I would never want to jump into something else at this time in my life. Like, I'm very content and very happy. And again, I'm just obsessed with it, like, obsessed.
Well, and I've always said, Pat, when you're passionate, when you're passionate about something, you're going to be good at it
Yeah.
because you're driving yourself to do the best you can, and you'll get better. Obviously, like you said, the more you do it, you fine tune your skills, and you get better as you go along. You did, again. I want to thank you. You did a card for me and the show. For those listening to this in audio, I'll post it on our social media. But if you're not watching this video and you're just hearing the audio, that you won't get much out of this. But for those that are watching the video, there's the card. Uh, I'm listen. As good as you are, I'm an ugly guy. That is what it is. You can't. You're not a miracle worker. So there's my ugly mug. But I mean, the card design. I mean, this thing is thick. What is it? I think 200, uh,
260.
260. So this thing is well built. And for those again that are seeing the video, there's a big swatch of leather there, and just blue and orange. And again, everything is custom, Omar. Like whatever the customer wants. I mean, you build it to their needs. And you ask me, hey, what colors? What do you want? And what do you want it to say? And when I got it, I mean, a very, uh, very impressive. And I did post it, got a lot of feedback on it, and definitely gave out pointed some folks in your direction. But that's the key. Like the customer can get whatever they need. You can construct these cards, and at 260 point, I mean that's a tank. You could not that you should do this, but you could probably throw this against the wall, and it'd be fine. That mine is actually in a mag tight, but you know just incredible stuff. And I mean, when we're at the end of the conversation, I'll have you give out your website and stuff, but where people can order their cards. But I mean, this applies not just to sports, but this can be corporate, obviously sports, whether it be youth leagues to even adult leagues. I got to ask you, I didn't write a lot of questions down, but I wanted to ask you, what's the weirdest thing? Is there something that sticks out? What's the weirdest thing anyone's had you like make a card with?
So we do baby cards where we put the
Yeah.
bracelet into the card as a keepsake. Someone reached out and asked for a to put the placenta in there. The mother asked. Um, and
I
then
don't
she,
laugh. I mean, I laughing. I mean, I get the meaning and stuff, but it's definitely different. I mean,
oh, yeah,
did
I, I,
you
I agree
go
with you.
ahead? I'll let you finish.
I said to her that I was like, I'll make it, and then you can insert it yourself. I just didn't feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And then we never went through with it. Another one was I had a customer who was you, you probably have heard of this, but like people write to like murderers, serial killers, and to
Yep.
yeah. So there was a customer who had letters from someone. I don't know who. If I was to dig through the e-commerce store, I'd probably be able to dig it out. But he wanted to put his signature into a card, and I said no. Like this against just our principles and morals and values here. Like I'm sorry, unfortunately,
Yeah,
I can't do it. But I've done a lot of really cool ones. Like we've inserted my friend's kid's first pair of shoes into a card,
that's
and
cool.
we added a QR code on the back, and it leads you to a video of his first footsteps.
Wow, that is cool. Yeah,
And then I had a customer who wanted to order, I think it was 60 cards or seven. I can't remember the amount, but he wanted to put his cricket jersey in there and hand them out as wedding invitations.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, there's so many different ways you can go. I mean, you're from a kid's first step, like you said. You got sports, the sports angle. You got a corporate angle. You got like the story you just said with wedding invites. I mean, there's all sorts of directions you can go, and you don't get to me. You don't get any more personal than that kind of stuff. Are you found most people? Are people difficult sometimes with some of their requests or the timing, or are most people pretty good about things?
No, everyone's been pretty understanding. Like you do have your odd ones, like like we have standard templates. It's like, can you add this, this, and this? And it's like, no,
Yeah,
like unfortunately, our layers only
yeah,
allow us to do this. Um, there's spelling errors sometimes where they put the wrong name in
yeah,
or the wrong
yeah,
picture or whatever the case may be. But in regards to like being an Australian and shipping to the States, because 90% of my states sales come from the States, it's everyone's been really understandable because of COVID.
yeah,
And then on top of that too, like I've tried to make it very personal with them. Like I stay in contact with them through the process. So, and I just let them know it's like, hey, it's going to take this long to do this. Shipping's a little bit behind because COVID went back up again, or whatever the case may be. So, but everyone's been really good, really happy. I've had never had really major issues. If I had, I've typically rectify it ASAP. I just
yeah.
don't like dealing with headaches. I just rather just like, hey, let's just fix it. Let's get it over and done with, and let's move on.
And Omar, I mean, you do. I mean, you do everything yourself.
Yes, but so I stepped away from designing, and I've just brought on 3 designers.
Yeah,
Uh, and then I'm in the process training someone, Liam, who is gonna be I'm trying to figure out, like, their apprentice name, like, you know how it's like he's a plumber or a welder, so it's like a craftsman. I don't know what to come up with. Maybe you can possibly come up with the name.
I'll rack my brain. I'll come up with something. I don't know if you like it, but I'm sure I'll come up with something for you.
We'll call him Young Grasshopper for
Yeah,
now.
Danielson.
Yeah.
You can be like Mr. I know it's not original, but it still gets me to laugh. So,
But yeah, no, I'm training him up, and then when it gets really, really busy, I have my neighbors and then I have my partner helping out as well too.
yeah.
So
Well, that's good. That means you're busy when you having that many people along with yourself. Uh, doing it now. Do you go to shows? I guess my first question should be, here in the states we obviously have a lot of card shows. Are there a lot of card shows where you are in Australia?
so we just had ours in Melbourne 2, 3 months ago, and we just had another one in Brisbane a month ago as well too. So they're called Hobby Hangout.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, so it's nothing to the scale of national or let alone the
Yeah.
mint that just happened this weekend. It's like it's not to that scale, but um, I think at the Melbourne show, like limitations because of COVID, we had 1,200. But if there was no limitations, I think it'd probably be. I think there'd be more, probably triple, maybe traffic coming through there
Well,
in the
that's
Melbourne
still.
show.
Yeah, I mean, 1,200 people, still a lot of people, if you ask me. Um, do you do like do you do any kind of promoting at shows? I know you have like affiliate programs as well. So is doing business at the show, is that a big part of what you do, or is it something you're looking to expand upon?
Yeah, so the Melbourne show was more to see. it was more of market research because that was the first one that I was able to go out as a business as one of one memorabilia cards instead of Omar Cornelius. But I'm looking to it's like I'm heading back home here in Canada on May 9th, and then I'm looking to set up at the Toronto show.
Oh, the
And
expo?
then, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's
then
I've been to that. I'm sure you probably wouldn't you've been there before, right? When you were in Canada?
no, I've never been to the Toronto
No.
one. No.
Okay. Yeah, it's a great show. Steve Menzie is the promoter and owner. He puts on a great show. I've called it the Canadian National. That's what I would compare it to. So you should do, I think you'll do well there. They get a lot of people, not just from Canada, but people from the states that go to the show as well.
Yeah. So look at this. I know it's really hockey heavy up there, like at the Toronto
Yeah.
show, where the National is more. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is more baseball.
Yeah, no, I agree. Nationals probably going to be heavy baseball, basketball, obviously Canada's hockey, but I mean that either way for you, you can put a hockey stick in those things, or rawhide from a baseball. So it not you'll be fine. You know what I mean? Whatever side of the border you're on, but yeah, baseball, basketball, football, and I know from attending the expo, hockey heavy, but nothing that you can't handle. Let's put it that way. So
Yeah, no, fair enough. And I'm looking to do the National this year too. Not to set up
yeah,
as your vendor, but just to come and introduce myself to to yourself and other
yeah,
people that
definitely,
are
definitely
supportive
looking
on.
forward to meeting you, Omar, for sure. And I mean, we even not setting up. Like I don't have a table per se, but just walking around and networking, that stuff goes a long way without having a table. So again, you'll do just that word of mouth and seeing the stuff. I'm sure you'll have examples and literature, and that stuff goes a long way. And that's the place to do it at. I mean, I call it the Super Bowl of the hobby, and almost everybody will be there. Probably, I don't know, 80% of the hobby, if not more, will be there, or a good percentage. And it I think if you get to the national, you'll do very well, and definitely you might have to even hire a few more people after that as well.
Well, let's figure out a name first, what to call them, and then I think that's the.
Uh
But
Yeah, yeah. I'll come up with something. I'm not. I'm drawing a blank in the moment, but I'll message you what something a little more better than if I tried to think too quick. Right here and now. But yeah, I mean, if so, have you never been to a national at this point?
No, no, and even when I was collecting back in the day, I was just collecting.
Yeah,
It was just for myself, for my own escape.
yeah,
But now, obviously, with the not the like the hype and all the discussions and social media and like you were just saying, like the national is like the Super Bowl for card collectors. So, but I also do want to go and say thank you to a lot of people who've been very supportive of what I
yeah.
do. Like
Well,
there's Eric
they'll,
Myers, etc.
yeah, and they'll. I'm gonna without even hearing who most of them are gonna be there. That's kind of event it is, and it's something. I've been doing this over 30 years, Omar, and this year will be my third national only. And so, it's the national as we know it in its current form is different than many years ago, where it was really just a big card show. It's become obviously it's a card show, the biggest one, but it's also an event in itself. It's a social event. People can meet their online friends maybe for the first time, or not the first time. It's kind of like a sort of like a family reunion where you just plan that every year. Hey, it's the same, pretty much the end of July, front end of August, and really the only question is where it's going to be, and you sort of just kind of make plans to be there, and it's a great event, and that's now an event that I really just kind of bake in that I plan to be there, every year. And I think I'll say this for not, when I went to my first one in I'm trying to do man, I think 2018. What I envisioned it, having never been to one yet, when I got there was even bigger than what my mind was telling me it would be like. And allow yourself at least a few days. You can't do everything in one day. You definitely want a three. I always, people ask me, and I'm always like, you need 3 days minimum. I mean, more if you can, but a minimum 3 days just to see everything, meet people, and do all that stuff. And but after you come out of the first one, you're still in awe, and you can't wait to you start counting the days. Say, I want to do that again. It's like a ride. So you're kind of a little nervous, and then you get on it, and it's exhilarating, and you're like, hey, let's do that again. Except you got to wait 364 days or whatever, 365 days to do it again. But it's fun. You're gonna, like you said, you'll meet people in person that you only know in my online form. I hope to meet you in person and thank you personally. Get to talk to you some more, and maybe even help you out. Even introducing you to some folks that I think might be fruitful. And if you can, definitely get to Atlantic City here at the end of July. It'll be a fun time for you, and I think it'll be a good business trip as well. Fun and good for business, and that's a double good thing there, double bonus. So.
Yeah, and then meet friends, like
Yeah,
make some
yeah,
friends
it's
too.
a social event. As much it is a card show, it's also a social event.
Yeah.
And there's things during the show. There's things even when the show itself closes. There's after parties, trade nights, and dinners, and VIP events. And if you're bored, if someone goes to the national and they're bored, I don't know what to tell them, because there's no short. Even like I said, even when the show is done for that day, there's something going on afterwards, and stuff. I know when the three nationals I've been to. Every time I come home, I'm like, I got to catch up on sleep. I always try to take an extra day off before going back to work, just to kind of unpack, catch up with some things, and then just chill out and try to
Soak
get
it all
back
in.
some strength. So, and you're gonna do a lot of walking. So, comfortable shoes and are a plus. And but it's fun. And like I said, you'll never been whatever you think it might be. It's going to exceed even those expectations. Uh, I thought, even going to my first one, I thought I had an idea what it was going to be like, and it was well past even what I thought it was. So definitely, I hope, like I said, hope to get to meet you, number one, and see you there, and then ask you what you thought of this thing,
Oh,
once you took it all in.
well, I think you just said it too. Like you need the 3 days, and so I'll be flying to Canada, and then coming back June 20th, and then the Nationals July 27th.
Yep, I believe so. July 27th to August 2nd, if my memory is working right.
Yeah, so we're gonna be jet lagged too. So it's gonna be pretty full on too. But I think it's just be like there's been a lot of discussion about it from here with people in the community about going, and we've been talking about like who can we meet, who can we see, and it'd be cool
Yeah.
to go through the dollar boxes and um
It's there's a booth set up there. It's called the Singles Club, and
yeah.
you probably heard of them. every card. I mean, they've got tons of monster boxes, shoe boxes, super shoes, and everything in there is $1. And there's some hidden gems. I go to it every year, and I don't know how many cards I wind up with, but definitely worth it. And if it wasn't, I wouldn't do it all the time, and I do it every time. And I know I don't. It's not a secret. Dr. Beckett, uh, one of his favorite spots, and a lot of people's favorite spots is that booth. But all the tables. I mean, it's the biggest show on the planet. People come from all over the world, from Germany, Australia, all over the world to the event, and that's why I call it the Super Bowl, the hobby. And I know we have other big shows, like you mentioned, the collective that just concluded. But to me, the granddaddy of them all is I like is the national. There's only one national. There's always talk about maybe doing two nationals in a calendar year. I almost hope that never happens, because I think doing it once, it's like anything good, right? Sometimes if you overdo it, it loses sort of that luster. It
Momentum.
becomes too, yeah, it gets
Yeah.
too commonplace. So I like the fact that it's 1 week a year. As soon as it's over and you get home and you kind of get your second wind and catch up on some sleep, you're already chomping at the bit to counting the days down. Let's go back there and do it again. And so I'm a one national a year type of guy. I hope that's the pace they keep. And but I mean, it's you look forward to it all year long, like you said, meeting friends in person, going to dinner, having a drink or two if you do that. And just making a lot of memories. I know it sounds kind of corny, but it's really true. And I always get excited when someone else is going and they haven't been there yet. Like I'm excited for them, because I remember before the first time I went, like I said, what I thought it was going to be. Was well beyond even that. And I was thinking big, and it was even bigger than what I was thinking. And so when I hear someone, "Hey, I've never been," what's it like, John? And I'm like, I can tell you, but I won't do it justice. You got to experience it, and you'll. I always just say you'll see, and I just give them tips. Comfortable shoes. Bring some
Backpack, some
snack,
Tylenol.
backpack. Yeah, yeah. I actually do. I do a show every year now where I just kind of do a national preview show where for those that maybe haven't went yet, I always kind of give out some tips and advice, and as someone who's done it and been there, done that. And but it's a great event, and I hope to see you there. I want to thank you for coming on and being flexible with the schedules, being in on a different continent than I am. And I want to give out, take your time, give out where people can see what you're doing with one-on-one memorabilia. Great work. I can testify myself. I've got the card right here in my hand, and the camera probably doesn't do it justice, but seeing it in person. And where people can find you, your website, social medias, and if they want to order something. And you know what, that national trip, maybe you'll be able to. I'm sure this is something you thought about too, Omar. Probably can deliver some orders in person there, because I think most of the
Oh yeah.
hobbies going to be is going to be there. So whoever orders, there's a good chance they might be in Atlantic City at the same time too. So
If they're not if they're not in rush, I think that'd be great. I never get to meet my customers because they're all back in the States. I have
yeah,
met a couple, but I'd love to see firsthand their reaction.
yeah.
Um, Especially the kids, because I've seen kids in the videos, but to be there in person, I think that would be a different ball game. Like
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I
I
think
would
it'd be much more
definitely.
rewarding.
I would get that on video. I mean, it's a great, it's great to look back fondly on it. It's a great, let's be honest, it's great marketing too, to get a natural reaction to a great product. I mean, that's just common sense. But yeah, I got a feeling you'll be able to do a lot of in person deliveries, because a good percentage of people we'll be there. But again, give out where for those who want to order. Give out all that stuff, social medias where people can see what you do.
Absolutely. So for Facebook and Instagram, it's at one of one MC, and that's the numeral one. So one of one MC. Facebook and Instagram. Twitter account is one of one underscore MC. And then my website is www.oneofonemc.com. And it can either be numeral or you can write it out as ONE of ONEMC.com. So we both have the, what's it called? The web host name of that as well.
Yeah, and when I post this, when I do the promotion of the podcast itself, I will tag you. So if for those that follow even us on social media, look for the post, the promo in this appearance, and you can just click on the link there, and it'll take you where you need to be. Omar, you do awesome work, and look forward to seeing you grow. Look forward to meeting you in person here in a few months. I mean, it's coming quick, and continued success as you grow. And I'll come up with something for the apprentices.
I'm just gonna say so.
It's going to be worth the wait. I know I'm a little slow on the draw, as we speak, but I'll thaw my brain out and come up with something halfway clever. So.
You know what? It'd be really cool if you came up with the name, and then we can do a card design of Sports Cards Nation as
All
well.
right.
Like,
All right. Well, let me now you're gonna make me really use the gears are really turning now. Like they're turning quicker. So I'll figure something out. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good with stuff like that usually. So all right, Omar. Continued success. Thanks for coming on. Again, I'll see you here and hopefully in a few months.
thank you. Appreciate it.
All
Take
right.
care, everyone.
You too.